Hey guys, Mike from Wrestling Then and Now. Thanks so much for checking out these clips from my recent interview with Dawn Marie. It was great catching up with my old friend. To support all things Dawn Marie, her online business, and all her social media, I'm putting one link in the description of all of her videos. So go to the description. That link will take you to her online eBay store. It'll take you to her YouTube channel, her website, her TikTok, her Instagram, her Twitter, all things Dawn Marie, one link, everybody. Please check it out. Let's support our friend Dawn. And thank you all for your support. If you haven't yet, please click subscribe. I got a lot of content coming out.
Paul had said, have you learned yet? Can you go bell to bell? Can you do like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, kind of. And he said, put it on tape. So I booked a show and I brought her with me and I sent it in and there we go. But this is a funny story that no one knows. A lot of people don't know. When they called me, they had asked me to go down to Louisville.
They were developmental? Okay. Who called you?
Johnny Ace.
Okay.
And I was in my 30s. I had a house. I was always like 10 years older than the other girls that I worked with. And, I had to turn it down. And it killed me. It killed me. Worked so hard, here's your opportunity. But I got a house I got to pay for. Like, I can't. Like, I'm not a kid. I'm by myself. Like, no. And I was so heartbroken. It was so heartbroken. It was the hardest decision I ever had to make. It wasn't even a decision. I had no choice, right? And I told them, and then they called me back a week later, and they're like, okay, we're going to take you on the road, and we're going to see how you do. And, okay. No contract, just we're going to see how you do.
Right.
And I show up, and Dusty used to have his school, right? And of course, the other girl is Dusty's girl. Mm-hmm. I'm like, God, what the hell am I going to do against one of Dusty's girls? But I did. I worked hard, and we did it. And I tore my ligament in my ankle that weekend, and I just said, tape it up. Just tape it up. We'll figure it out. And yeah, I got my job.
What was your initial impression of Johnny Ace?
I never had a problem with Johnny. Mm-hmm. I really didn't have an opinion of him. I mean, he was okay. No bad, no good. No, he was my boss. That was it. I hear all the stuff that's going on now. What can I say? Only in wrestling? Yeah. Hey, that's what we used to say, right? When we were all on the indies. Only in wrestling. And then but
he was always professional with you?
Yeah.
What about Vince McMahon? How'd you get along with Vince?
Awesome. It was professional. He was always respectful. I've had my lawsuit with Vince afterwards, and I had my own issues with Vince. But I have nothing. I almost feel like weird saying it. Like when I worked with him, I had nothing but respect for him. Even after the lawsuit, business is just business. You got to just handle it. And the reason why is, think about it. He ran this huge company. He was at every TV. Okay. The owner, CEO, whatever, all of it. And you know what? I can knock on his door at any time if I had a question or a concern, and I would be allowed in to talk about the wrestling. But,
right.
he would, I'm not saying I had 15, 20 minutes, make your point, get out. But he always was available. And I had nothing but respect for that. And I feel like he never asked, at least me or anyone else that I saw, to do anything in the ring or any kind of storyline that he himself or his own family hasn't done similar, So to me, I have respect for that. He fired me when I was pregnant, or because I was pregnant. That's a whole nother story. But again, I guess I'm just that person that we handled it. It was business. And that's it. And then years later, I actually had to call Vince for something. I had to tell him that Captain Lou had passed. His family wanted me to call him, and I did. And it was so funny because it was the first time ever since the lawsuit, and I walked out on Vince twice in mediation.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he was.
Wait, so you're I was gonna ask you, you're at a table. It's you and Vince for mediation?
No, he had like his lawyers. But I walked out twice. I was like, that's a whole other story. So anyway, he what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot.
You called him for Captain Lou.
I called for Captain Lou and told him, and he was like, oh, okay. And then we were talking like about that, and he said, you know what, Dawn? He's like, I have more respect for you today than I did when you worked here. And I was like, oh, really, Vince? Why is that? The way you handled your business. And I was like, okay, well, Vince, you know what? I have more respect for you too. You actually followed through. I knew the way you handled your business, And we laughed, a good little laugh. And, that was the olive branch. Right? It's just business. Yeah, it is what it is. But like, because at that time there was like Geraldo and Nancy Grace and I don't know, a bunch of them. They were calling me. They all wanted me on their shows to shit on them.
Right.
But like, I would never shit on the business. Never. I would never. That's just how I was raised in the business. You don't shit on it. If I shit on a business, I'm shitting on everyone that came before me. How dare I? I can't do that. So I just handled my business, and that was it. I never went public. I never cried about it. I never, no, I didn't want to do that.
Did you ever see anything being close with the other divas, with the other girls? Did you ever see anything inappropriate happen between management and talent?
No. Well, see it or hear. Two different things.
That's two different things. Yeah.
Okay.
Never saw anything?
I never saw anything. There was a girl from the Diva Search, really nice girl. And she would come to me for a lot of advice because she was getting calls from the main office. And she was just freaked out. And I said, I don't even know what, I've never had to, you always hear the stories, whatever, but you think they're story. You don't know, right? You don't know the truth.
Right.
But then like when she was, she was so scared and broken. And she ended up leaving. But I told her, I was like, you have to do you, something you don't want to do and you don't feel comfortable. I don't judge you if you do, and I'm not going to judge you if you don't. You have to do you. And she ended up leaving, but because she didn't want to do, but I do. That's the only time I've ever encountered an issue, was that one person.